Okay, let's run.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to And I Quote, the weekly show where we introduce you to content creators of all shapes and sizes that join us from any and all corners of the nerd universe. We find out more about them by taking your questions. I am your host, Ron of Nerd Culture, and our guest on this episode is award-winning writer, cosplayer, and apparently she coined the phrase Romantasy into the everyday lexicon. Please welcome Charli Rahe. Charli, welcome in. How are you, my friend?
Good. How goes it?
Oh, it's going well. It's going well. We thank you for being with us. Now, if you have any questions for Charli as we go throughout the course of this episode, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Our producer is going to be monitoring it as we go throughout the course of this program. And don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. Spread the joy, why don't ya? So, Charli, what were some of your favorite books or writers growing up?
Oh, The Giver for sure. Sixth grade was a weird year for reading. Our teacher really pushed for us to dive into those more complex books. So I started reading The Hobbit then as well. And it was pretty much like from there, I was done. Fantasy was it. Although I did throw in the occasional Goosebumps because, I mean, R.L. Stein, you gotta. But yeah, those were the main ones when I was little.
Ah, Goosebumps. The good old days of scholastic book fairs. You take out your catalog, you mark down all the books you're going to buy. Half of them you don't even read, but you get them anyway. Goosebumps, I remember getting a bunch of books. I probably never read them, but I do remember the adaptation of it on Fox Kids with the TV series. So, remember that theme song that creeped you the heck out, made you want to run for the hills? I do.
Yes, absolutely. The one and the movies that came out, I actually had the one with the mask, and I think it was the Tower of London one on VHS. So just
Oh,
aged myself a little bit there.
hey, age is just a number. Who cares? I remember watching The Haunted Mask and Tower of Terror and,
Tower of Terror, yes.
something like that. And then you had the Phantom in the Auditorium. You had Stay Out of the Basement. That was
Yeah.
creepy with the two kids finding out what their dad was up to down there.
Slappy.
Slappy, yeah. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yep. If you're not careful, you may end up as a ventriloquist dummy. So no, that's a fate. Some people would call that a fate worse than death. So we'll just let that one slide. But good point about R.L. Stein. Yep, I had some of those books as a kid. I think my favorite one was The Girl Who Cried Monster.
Ooh.
Do you remember that one? That was the one where there was this
don't.
young girl who went to her local library every week, and then all of a sudden the librarian there just creeped her out, and she wasn't sure why that was. And then she found out why the person was so creepy. So
I don't remember that
you don't
one.
remember that one? Okay.
You know what I remember doing is getting so afraid of them that I would have to put them cover down when I was done reading it for the night. Because I would read, I was reading until like 2 o'clock in the morning under the blankets and
With-
stuff.
Really?
Right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Really? With the flashlight or the book light?
Yeah. I think back then it was like a flashlight. You could like hold it in your
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. One of my close friends actually told me that she used to read a lot at night and she would use a little bit of a book light, I think it was, but it wasn't like the best one or whatever it was. And then later on it ended up affecting her vision because she was reading Sun in the
Oh,
dark so much that it affected her vision, which I wouldn't recommend that, by the way. But
that's a legitimate fear for
yeah.
me as well. Yeah, that does not surprise me.
Yeah, sorry, my friend, whose story I just told, but we're gonna we're gonna keep their identity anonymous because we don't want to embarrass anyone on this set, at least not now. Maybe we'll do that later. I don't know. Let's see here. Hey, Carl Witzman, good to see you.
Hello.
There's a pop culture reference there for you from the 90s if I ever heard one. Carl, good to see you. If you have any questions for Charlie, let us know. More than happy to take those as they come in respectively. With that being said, what were some of your favorite movies or TV series growing up, other than the fact that Goosebumps scared the bejesus out of you?
Yeah. Oh gosh, favorite TV series. There were when I was like little or older.
Past or present. So when you were
Okay.
growing up or now, it doesn't matter.
Oh, that's tough. Like it's like those years are like kind of fuzzy, but also clear enough where I'm like, oh yeah, that was a good time. Um, I don't know, Saturday morning cartoons probably, but then as I got older, then it was like Tuesday shows on like WGN or Fox or whatever it was, like Buffy and Dawson's Creek and Felicity. Um, and then like previously it was Simpsons, which is crazy that it is still going on now. Like,
Blows my mind. Moe's Tavern
right.
House of the Rob Roy. I mean, it's just how many more can you do? Honestly, covered every facet of these characters' lives. What more is there to do? Honestly, there's nothing left, and they don't age.
I
All
my
these people have been the same age for 45 years. I mean, at this point, Bart would be like a grandfather.
Yeah, my favorite thing is when they repeat previous plots, like not the whole plot, but like a slight plot point,
Really,
like owning a horse. And then they're just like, "Oh, remember when we used to own a horse?" And they're like, "No, actually, we don't remember." And I love that. I love that they do that.
good lord, The Simpsons. Dun, 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 dun. Now you got the theme song in the back of my mind. So, oh, by the way, Carl has a thought here. He says, we have those same shelves in our library. Built them myself from Menards stuff.
Yeah, and I put contact paper on them so they would be just a little bit more personalized.
Really?
Yeah, so before I put the actual shelves in,
Mm-hmm.
I put just, contact paper in so it
Hmm.
matches the rest of my walls and decor.
Well, that is just smashing. Good TV shows, good stuff there. Any movies that stand out to you? Some of your favorites from way
Oh
back when, or
gosh.
some of the things you've seen now?
Legend, anything that was like remotely mystical, Labyrinth,
Never Ending Story.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. All of those were my jam for sure. Um yeah, Tim Curry, anything he's in. um and who else? Val Kilmer. Willow. Oh my gosh. Loved Willow. Had such a huge impact on me as a kid. Mad Mardigan, I was obsessed. Like that, like bad guy to good guy arc. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing."
Good stuff. Good stuff. I've had the pleasure of meeting Val Kilmer not once, but twice.
Oh,
Twice. First time, thanked him for being Batman in Batman Forever 1995. Criminally underrated film, by the way, folks. Give it some love because Batman and Robin never happened, but Batman Forever did. That happened because it worked. Batman and Robin, not so much. Trash. But Val Kilmer, I thanked him for that. He was appreciative of that fact. And then number two, the second time I saw him, I had him sign an 8x10 of him as Iceman from the legendary film known as Top Gun.
yeah.
Had him sign them with the line, to Ryan, I don't like you because you're dangerous. That's right. Ice, man, I am dangerous. So, yeah, come on. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, my son's, first Halloween, they were very little, and we actually made a wagon into a jet, and they were, Iceman and Maverick.
They were Top Gun pilots.
Yeah.
Did they have the flight suits?
Yeah.
They have the
Mhm.
suits. Oh,
Little tiny little baby sunglasses and everything. Because I mean, yeah, they were really excited when the last one came out.
yeah, Top Gun Maverick. Did
Yeah.
you enjoy that? Did you like it?
I did like it. I did. They definitely had, like, the, plot points down from the previous one, but, with a new twist, a little bit more modern. I liked it.
And the Maverick and Iceman reunion scene was
Yeah.
handled very respectively considering his health issues and his throat cancer, and he really can't talk when you meet him at conventions, but when I did meet him the first time, he was able to, what do you call it, speak a bit under his breath, and he said,
Mhm.
thank you, I appreciate that, after I thanked him for playing Batman in that one movie.
Yeah.
So that was cool. That was cool because he doesn't really talk much because he's got to conserve his energy with his health issues and
Right.
getting around and things like that. So Val, if you're watching this, well done. Please take good care of yourself, and we wish you nothing but the best.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, 2 thumbs way up. Never Ending Story, yeah, that's key. Fun fact: Never Ending Story turns the big 4-0 next year.
Oh my goodness.
I know. We're getting too young for this job. And what was the other one we mentioned? We mentioned Willow. We mentioned
Legend,
Legend.
Labyrinth.
Yeah. I've seen all of those. Finally saw Legend for the first time earlier this year. So that happened.
Really?
Yeah, it
Tom
was.
Cruise again.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't love it like a lot of people do. I think it's
Yeah.
fine. I mean, if I had to pick a, what do you call it, a fantasy adventure movie, my first is always going to be Never Ending Story, no matter what, because that's the
Mhm.
one I grew up with personally. But I've seen
Right.
Legend and I've seen Labyrinth. I haven't seen Labyrinth in gosh, like 30 years. I may have to go back and revisit that. Plus, Jennifer Connelly is nothing to sneeze at. Hi, Jennifer. Everyone's had a crush on her since like 1987, 8, whenever that movie came out. She doesn't seem to
Oh
age
gosh,
either.
yeah.
I mean, she can go from playing all these different characters, and then one day later, she ends up being Penny Benjamin. And you're lucky to be here. Thank you, sir. Anyway, that's a line from the first Top Gun. I digress. So Carl Witzman has a thought and a question here for you. So Carl Witzman says it's a nice touch with the contact paper. Nice work. What genres do you specifically write in, Charlie?
So I write in fantasy romance, romantic suspense, and a little bit of contemporary romance. But published so far is contemporary romance, short stories, and romantic fantasy. So, like my main series is the romantic fantasy.
I see. What else can you see? Hopefully, this incredible episode of And I Quote with our guest of honor, Charli Rahe. Don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. If you got any questions for it, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. If this is your first time here, welcome. We hope you enjoy the ride. When did you decide to become a writer?
Um, the first time I actually sat down and started writing was in 2012. Um, this series actually, and I finished it in 2014, and then it just kind of sat there and waited for me to get the motivation to start publishing. Um, but yeah, I've been writing since that 6th grade. That teacher was very influential. I think it wasn't just me, it was probably that entire class. Um, just really pushed us to find our voice and to pursue our creativity and put ourselves out there, in a way that hadn't been pushed before. Because, I think that teachers thought we were too young and didn't quite hit that note inside of us where, it started to vibrate, where we're like, wait a minute, like this is really resonating with me. So I started it in 6th grade, not really full stories or anything. I continued to just journal and write every single day. And I kept all those journals, which were mortifying as an adult. Um, but yeah, then I think I stopped briefly in my 20s just because priorities shifted for a little while. And then in 2012, I was like, you know what? I told my husband, like, I think I'm going to write a book. And he was like, do it. Go ahead. I don't think that he realized the beast that he would create with that positivity and support because I write constantly. Even on days where I'm not feeling motivated, I'm going to edit, I'm going to review, I'm going to do something, but it's going to be a part of my writing.
Wow. My goodness gracious. Good to have a supportive husband and not the antagonistic kind thinking, why would you want to do that? Don't waste your time. You're not going to be doing that for the rest of your life, are you? No, of course I am. I love to write. Like, give me a break. No, that's fantastic, and congratulations. Glad the other party was supportive of this decision. So thank good.
Yeah. Yeah,
Thank.
especially at the time we had newborns, so
Oh my goodness,
it
your
was
hands were already
yeah.
full. Yeah,
It's a free hobby in the beginning.
it is, isn't
And writing is a free hobby in the beginning.
it?
As you start publishing and going to events and signing and getting covers and agents and all that fun stuff, then it becomes a little bit more expensive. But
Okay, money, money. I wish it grew on trees, but it doesn't. So we can relate to. By the way, Carl Witzman says Donna and I are both writers, which can help sometimes.
yeah.
So,
I do ask him a lot of questions because his upbringing is polar opposite of mine.
mhm.
He was raised on a farm, I was raised in the city. So whenever I have any agricultural questions or, a little bit more rural leaning questions, he is a endless font of information. So I can tap into that whenever I need to.
The more you know. There you go. So, what would you say are some of the biggest rewards about being a writer?
Oh, inspiring other writers for sure. I was lucky enough to do a panel in Chicago at C2E2 last year, and it was helping indie writers get published, just giving them a few steps that they can, push off, launch their career from. And it was really nice to hear afterwards that, it was helpful in any fashion. I've actually had um people contact me, email me and message me and say, "Thank you for just telling me to keep writing," even because I think a lot of things, or one big thing that people get stuck on as new writers is that it's been done before. And I think that that can be very discouraging, especially, like you're trying to name stuff and then you Google it or whatever, and it comes up somebody's already used it. But the thing I like to remember is that each person has such a unique perspective that even if you're telling the same story, it will not be the same because you have your own experiences and your own perspective when writing those stories. So it will be different no matter what.
Goodness gracious. Mic drop moment right there.
Mm.
Fantastic. The other side of the fence, though, what are some of the biggest challenges about being a writer?
Oh, you know what? Writing comes very easily to me. Marketing does not. If you had told me in the beginning that writing the book would be the easiest part, I would have called you crazy. But definitely, once it's written, once it's cleaned up, and you have this book to get it out there, to get it in people's hands or under their eyes, it's a little bit more challenging. So you have to get comfortable kind of selling yourself because they meet you, they like you, and so they want to read what you have to say. And that doesn't come as easy for me, at least virtually. In person, I'm good. Virtually, you know, so.
Gotcha, gotcha. What pieces of advice would you give to aspiring writers?
Oh, finish. Doesn't have to be perfect. One of my favorite quotes is, "You got to pile that sand before you can make sand castles." And I think a lot of people get stuck on trying to make the perfect manuscript. And really, you just need to have a story, and then you can make it perfect or flesh it out.
Well said. Well said. You've been doing this for a while, haven't you? Uh, not that no one wants to brag or nothing, but things happen. Let's see. Carl Witzman goes on to say, "It's been done before, but not by me.
Absolutely.
Not by me."
Absolutely.
Mm-mm-mm. And then apparently Carl is full of wisdom. He says, "Virtual sales are very hard. We
Yes,
mostly sell at what are known as conventions, etc."
absolutely.
Hmm. That's fair. Completely what am I trying to say here? Completely understandable. What else is understandable is the awesomeness that is this episode of And I Quote with the guest of honor, Charli Rahe. Don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. If you have any questions for her, drop a like us hot, drop a like us hot in the comments, in the chat, and we're more than happy to take those as they come in respectively. If you're just joining us, welcome. Hope you enjoy the ride. So I want to share something with you here, if you don't mind. This little nugget, Scarlet Sorrow. So, what exactly is this, and how did this all come about?
So Scarlet is my main character. You start with her. It is a multiple point of view series, but you are following Scarlet's path primarily. Um, And I really liked this cover. It took me a long time to I was being very picky with my illustrator. And, yeah, I wanted her to be facing a journey. I wanted you to get that sense of fantasy and this overwhelming, adventure she's about to engage on. I think that my illustrator did a good job. Very happy with it.
I would venture to say so. Looks like something we would see on the cover of a movie poster or an upcoming TV series. So, talk about awesomeness that you may want to hang up on your wall one day. I don't know. Things happen.
Right. I
So you
would.
got this one, Jet Black Justice. Boy, this
Yeah.
seems to get dark and gritty. What's this one all about?
Yes. So this is Jet. This is Scarlett's brother. He also has a point of view. Um, so it is there are a lot of polyamorous relationships. So he is the husband with two wives. You they get married in the first book. Um, and he's facing what will be his home island's tower, which is a journey all in itself. So each character, each point of view, they all have a separate journey, but it's coinciding with one another. Um, but yeah, so it's a portal fantasy. The series is a portal fantasy. So they're actually coming from Chicago and going to Tidings, where they find out that they're not quite human, and there's this slightly archaic society that they're navigating, where there's obviously swords and you have to fight, and they can also call to the elements and utilize that. But they're supposed to be a peaceful, nurturing society, and it's kind of there was an incident, which you learn about in the books, that has forced them to become more protective and more armored.
My goodness gracious. Intriguing. Nothing wrong with swords. Just out of curiosity, though, do giant bears or deep dishes full of pizza or food make appearances in these books? Hey, homage to Chicago and the Windy City with them bears.
So they do occasionally travel back to Chicago for periods, and I there are a lot of Easter eggs for Chicagoans in this series.
Well, my good friend Jeff, he may not live in Illinois anymore, but he does live in PA. He'll be thankful for that because he grew up in Illinois. So he grew up in and around areas such as those. So with Chicago and some other areas, and yeah, a lot of deep dish pizza and football and basketball games.
Yeah.
With I'm sorry if I'm messing up the whole impression or the accent
No,
here,
that's okay.
but I've seen it so many times way back when on YouTube and SNL that I just can't
Oh,
help
yeah.
myself.
The
Chris
bears.
Farley, rest in peace, man.
Yes,
Another young talent that we lost far too soon. Let's be perfectly honest. With that,
absolutely.
let's see here. Carl Witzman goes on to say, "I like the covers too. Looks like some that I've designed for our books in particular." And then Carl says, "So it's set in Rockford, haha."
Unfortunately, there is no Rockford, which coincidentally, I live closer, I think, to Rockford now than I do Chicago. I'm out in the burbs, so.
Have you seen any individuals walking around with Rockford Peaches outfits on by any chance? Yeah.
So Elgin is very close, and they do have those, A League of Her Own.
League of Their Own, yeah.
Yeah, they have those
Baseball
like
game?
mock games. Yes, yes.
Oh, I love that movie so much. It's one of the best ever made, honestly. I think it's, I think I've said this on a few occasions on different programmings, but A League of Their Own, I think, is the best sports movie ever made. I think it's the best because no one really, unless you grew up in that era, in those areas where those things were happening, you grew up during the events of, granted, World War II wasn't exactly a happy time, but
Right,
if you grew up around those areas and you knew what was going on, it hits you more than someone who was born in the 80s and had no idea that women could play. I had no idea that women
right.
played baseball, let alone softball. Like, I didn't know that until I saw this movie, and I'm thinking, this is based on a true story. And they're like, yeah, it happened in the 40s during WW2 when all the men were overseas fighting. I thought, whoa.
Yeah,
So it wasn't just the typical thing where the men does this and the woman just stays in the kitchen. No, no. They actually went out there and they got their dirt in the skirt. They got their hands dirty. It's like,
yeah.
oh, dang.
Like,
That's
and Tom Hanks, Madonna, like Gina Davis, all
Madonna in her
like,
prime,
it's
yeah.
Yeah.
Rosie O'Donnell was in her prime at that point.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It was such a like it'd never been done before. It was so great.
And everyone in the cast and the crew, and rest in peace to the director Penny Marshall, who's no longer with us. Great job. That's my favorite film of hers. I know she directed Big and some other stuff. And Big is a classic. I mean, that's the reason
Yeah.
I think Tom Hanks worked with her again in A League of Their Own, because they already had a good working relationship when they were working on Big together. So I'm figuring, yeah, he was. Dude, that their role. I mean, his character is hilarious. You just can't help but laugh every time he walks into no matter what he says. It's the funniest thing, right? It's
Yeah.
you can't help yourself. Especially during the montage sequence when everyone's on the road and they're doing the games. Remember that? And he says, "All right, God knows we have a game." It's not like any of this helps, believe me. And then he crosses it. He says a little prayer before he walks out. And I'm like, come on, man. You know you got the faith. It's just, oh, gosh. And then remember the prayer that he says at the end of the
No,
movie?
I don't remember.
You don't remember this? Okay.
Tell me.
So this is the World Series, right? They're going up against what is it? Racing, because Kit Keller has moved on from the Rockford Peaches to Racing. She was traded to Racing. So it's towards the end of the movie, and they gather together in a huddle in the locker room. This is before they go out to play the game, okay? So they get into a huddle, and he says, "I want to lead you on a little prayer." What? Come on. Come on, a prayer? Come on. And then he says, wise words like, "Lord, hallowed be thy name," blah, 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 blah. And then he says, "Lord, I just want to thank you for that waitress in South Bend. You know who she was." And she kept calling her name. It's like, oh my gosh. Like, you can't say that during a prayer, dude. But he said it anyway, because it's just hilarious, right? You don't know what he's going to say. So he says that during his prayer sequence. So feel free to look it up.
I'm gonna make my kids watch that. I think they're
Please
old
do.
enough.
Watch the whole movie. Watch all 2 hours of it. That's. I mean, there are some stuff in there that may not be exactly cool for it, but then again, your kids.
Yeah, I think that's gonna just kind of.
Some of it's going to go over their heads.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, watching a lot of those. Oh, we watched The Goonies.
Did you?
Oh, times have changed so much.
They got away with a lot of stuff in the PG
They
movies, didn't they?
They absolutely did.
A lot of curse words.
Yeah, so my kids are very into
What is it?
like informing themselves as they watch a movie.
Really?
So we're watching that one, and the first, like opening scene is where they break the statue, right? And they're like, "Oh, well, that's my mom's favorite part,"
Oh,
and
yeah.
and my sons were like, "What?" Like,
You got
looking
away
back
with
at me like, "You're gonna let us watch this?"
You might be just scarring us for life, Mom.
Yeah. So then they're like, "Well, when did PG-13 come up and all
Around
that?" And
83, 84, but they didn't really start using it until a little bit later.
yes, yep. So
I mean,
that is what we've discovered.
I think Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom was the reason why PG-13 was invented in the first place, was Temple of Doom.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, did you know
they're
that?
big Indiana Jones fans too.
Well, Temple of Doom never happened, but Raiders of the Lost Ark and Last Crusade did happen. So if you want to expose the kids to great adventure movies, have them watch those two.
Okay.
Just Raiders and Last Crusade. You don't have to watch Temple of Doom. You don't have to watch Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And I haven't seen the new one yet, Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny. It's coming up on the streaming service that shall not be named in a couple of weeks. So I'm going to sit down and watch that. I'm looking forward to it, by the way.
We've watched all of them. We went to the theater and watched the Dial of Destiny. They are huge Harrison Ford fans. They've actually
Who is?
watched The Fugitive.
The Fugitive
Oh yeah,
won an Oscar
they
for
love
that.
it.
Or no,
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones won the Oscar for that. Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones is another one that they love. The Client. Like, I can't.
That's a good legal thriller, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah. You like
Yeah.
legal thrillers? The Client's a good one.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a good one. Tommy Lee Jones has done some good work. Have they seen Men in Black? Have they seen Men in Black?
No, they have not seen Men in Black.
You might want to write that one down. Men in Black, the first one, because the sequels never happened. And the reboot that came out 2 years ago didn't happen either. So the one Men in Black movie that does exist from 1998, I want to say. Was it 98 or 97? 97.
I'm not sure.
Have them sit down and watch that, because that's one of the better Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith movies. So, and the soundtrack is iconic.
Right.
So, the Men in Black. Come on now.
Yeah.
Great. It's beautiful. Feel free to watch that music video. It's on YouTube. It's great.
Is that really 97, 98? My
Yeah.
goodness.
I know. We are dating ourselves. It's so messy. By the way, Carl says he apologizes for getting us off the subject. No, listen, Carl, when you mention Rockford, the first thing that comes to my mind is those Rockford peaches from that iconic movie known as A League of Their Own. If someone here who's watching or listening to this right now doesn't know what we're talking about, is not overly familiar with the story of A League of Their Own and how it impacted society, go and sit down and watch it. It's a great movie.
And it
Period.
kind of ties in because I'm into cosplay, and the Hale twins do the Rockford Peaches and
Really.
the mock games. Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's right by me.
And it's right
Yeah.
next door.
Yeah. It's like I think it's the Elgin area library
Mhm,
or Arlington Heights library, one of those two.
mhm. One of
So,
those
I
two.
mean, comes back to library and books. So here we are again.
Isn't it beautiful? All we gotta do is take a look. It's in a book. Remember that one?
I do not.
You don't remember the song from Reading Rainbow?
Oh. Oh, yes. I
Take a
remember the
look, it's in
rainbow.
a book? Come on now, Charlie. How can you not remember take a look, it's in a book? It's so simple. It's all you gotta do. It's what we
Mm,
should be teaching our kids. Just take a look, it's in a book. Books are
yeah.
great.
Except we don't have the encyclopedias from
Britannica?
I don't think that I think I got like grocery store encyclopedias. I was not the Britannica
Oh,
encyclopedias.
you weren't Britannica,
I was like here I have $30 to buy the letter J today.
oh, the letter J, I'm sorry. You're buying them by the letter, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
You may find some encyclopedias, like, for dirt cheap at Ollie's Bargain Outlet, if you ever heard of that place?
I have half price books a stone throw away from me.
Oh,
So
well, that helps.
might yeah, that might have some dusty encyclopedias.
Okay.
And they yeah.
You can always pay them a visit if you want. Throwing that out there as a for instance, and I'm also throwing this out there for those who might be wondering what the bantha fodder is going on. This is, and I quote, with the incredible Charli Rahe, Romantasy author who coined the phrase, I might add, here on the show. If you have any questions for her, by all means, let us know in the comments, let us know in the chat, and don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. Carl Witzman has a very interesting question before I ask my next one. Thanks, Carl. You took a step ahead of me, but whatever. Carl says, do you like going into various libraries when you travel? I used to do that when I worked for the state of Illinois.
I do. I really do. So I go to a lot of local signings, and I like to add a library stop on my travels, just especially because so many of them have a lot of history, and I really appreciate that. And I appreciate everything that they do and how they've modernized themselves within the libraries, like the 3D printing and all of that stuff. It's mind blowing what they have in there.
Yeah, libraries are important. Use them as a resource, ladies and gentlemen. They may be a stone's throw away from your home, or they're near your home, or maybe somewhere near your neighborhood. So just feel free to Google hashtag not a sponsor. I'm just throwing it out there. If you got to Google something, hey, go ahead and do it. So I want to share something with you here. I hope I'm pronouncing this right.
Okay.
Indigo Nights. Goodness
Yeah.
gracious. Looks like someone's about ready to go to the ball and wear a glass slipper. What is this all about?
So indigo is Scarlett's sister. I'm just gonna say it. That's a little tiny bit of a spoiler, but like you kind of figure it out. Like and like Scarlett doesn't know. And she also has her own POV point of view. So Indigo is going through her own journey because she is actually born and raised in Tidings. And then Scarlet comes, and a lot of secrets that this family has buried comes to light. And Indigo is caught in the turmoil that is a result of her showing up in Tidings. Um, so she's got a stepmom and her dad, and they get separated, and she's still trying to be the perfect daughter, but without the attention. And yeah, she gets a little bit brushed aside and has to figure out where she fits now that she's not a part of that reigning class anymore, now that Scarlet is there and her family history has all been unearthed, and she's having her own separate journey, also parallel with Scarlet and Jet.
So in other words, this character in particular may have been backed into a corner, even though they keep telling us since 1987, no one puts baby in a corner.
Right. This baby was put in a corner, very much so.
And
There's
no
no
one,
Patrick Swayze.
yeah, there's no
Very
Swayze.
disappointing.
And I don't know if you're familiar with this or not. Have you seen his should have been? I mean, you can make arguments for this, for it or against it. Anyone can do this, but I'm just curious. What are your thoughts on Patrick Swayze's performance in Point Break with Keanu Reeves?
Oh gosh, it's amazing. I am not a huge fan of remakes, so I was really disappointed when they did a remake of Point Break because you can't improve upon perfection. It's just not a thing. So, yeah, I really loved Point Break. Keanu Reeves,
He doesn't age.
no, he
You ever
really
notice that
doesn't.
about him?
Yeah,
He
I've
doesn't age.
been, yeah,
Just doesn't. He's been the same way since 89 or 91.
yeah. So a guy I worked with actually met him at a
Really?
bar,
No way.
and he was like, he's exactly who he represents himself to be, and I like that. That sounded really nice. Where
Wow.
he's just
It's
this
just nice.
laid back,
He's just a typical guy. He's just a
kind
regular guy.
person. Yeah,
Yeah, he's just a regular guy. He's just hanging out at the bars, and
yeah,
he gives up his seats on the trains. Have you noticed that? He gives up his
yeah.
seat on the subway when he's riding the subway, wherever he is, if he's traveling.
Hmm.
And he's done signings for people. I think he takes selfies most of the time too. If people ask him,
Oh, nice.
he'll just
Yeah.
be like, "Yo, you want a selfie?" Like, yeah, yeah.
Well, this was probably
Some years ago.
like, yeah, this was like at least 20 years ago.
Wow, he was still he was still baby.
Yeah.
A bit of a baby face, maybe. Maybe it was a few years after he played Johnny Utah. Give me 2. Remember that line? You know what? You know what? I'm hungry. It's time for lunch. Angelo, it's 10:30. Right around that corner. It's the best sandwich shop. They have this meatball sub the size of a rhino. I want you to get me 2 of them. Can you do that? Give me some lemonade. Yeah, sure. I'll be right back. All right, thanks. Hey, Utah, give me 2. Like, I actually just rewatched it the other night.
Yeah, yeah, I was gonna say your memory is incredible.
Well, you want to know a fun fact about that?
Please.
So, how the intro to the movie that is still, I think it's still a great movie to this day, 23 years later, the first X-Men movie.
Okay.
And the intro of that movie is very simple, where Professor Xavier is saying mutation's the key to our evolution. Every few hundred millennia, evolution leaps forward. Well, some people have claimed, even scientists have claimed this on social media, that people with autism are the next stage of human evolution. So I guess that means we're the next X-Men. So in my case, because of my autism, I have a sharp mind for remembering lines from movies and TV series. So if I watch something once or twice, the whole script goes right up here.
That's amazing.
And then I can quote it back to you verbatim. So if you ever need me to
That's a superpower.
do a quote along,
Absolutely.
or if you need help with trivia, just give me a call and say, Ryan, I'm struggling with this movie. I need you to give me some advice. What can I do? I've been more than happy to help you because it's a lot of fun. And if you want to see our trivia skills be put to the test, you can tune into the new episode of Cosplay Cafe on Friday, November the 17th, I want to say, at, I believe it's 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central time. We're going to be doing Star Wars trivia. So anyone's interested in that, feel free to join us. Myself and Dave Adams, our good friend Dave Adams, is going to be with us. He's going to be the other guest. So we're going to have 2 guests. I'm one and he's the other. So.
The Phoenix sisters are amazing.
Yeah, and the Phoenix sisters are awesome. And I think they're well known in the Chicagoan and the Wisconsin areas. So,
Yes, absolutely.
give our best to Phoenix Sisters Cosplay. Feel free to follow them on Instagram too. They're doing some great things over there. Did you notice that? It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there. Hashtag shameless plugs, by the way. What was his name? Oh yeah, Carl says Cosplay Cafe is awesome. Yes, it is. I've watched a few episodes. Charlie and I have watched some
Yes.
footage, right? You've chimed
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. I was a guest.
Yeah, you were your alumni. You're a former guest of the show, and then Dave and I are going to be the guests next week. So if you want to tune in, join us. I'll post the information on our social media, so you can tune in. I'm sure Charlie's going to be wondering, what's a droid again? I don't know what C3PO stands for. What does that mean? What's a Wookiee? Will someone get this big walking carpet out of my way? Carrie Fisher, man, she was good. She had a lot of lines, lots of good lines there.
Yeah.
I heard she improv'd a good portion of them too.
Really? It doesn't surprise
Well, I
me.
think she improv the walking carpet line with Chewie. I think she improv. I don't know. She improv a key sequence in the little indie film known as The Empire Strikes Back. I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain. Laugh it off, fuzzball. But you didn't see us alone in the South Passage. She expressed her true feelings for me. Why, you stuck up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerve herder. Who's scruffy looking? She improv that. So
Get out of here. That is it doesn't surprise me though.
well done, Carrie Fisher. Well done. Because that's a hilarious line that should be printed on T-shirts. Which I think the nerf herder part is printed on T-shirts, but
Yeah.
the whole of it should be on a T-shirt that Charlie and I can wear. So if someone wants to make that, feel free to be creative and let your creative light shine. Because being creative is fun. I mean, Charlie would agree with that. So
Yeah.
what else is creative is this show and how crazy it's gotten in the last X amount of minutes here on And I Quote with Charli Rahe, the guest of honor. Who am I to talk? Don't let us let us know if you have any questions for her in the comments, and don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. Charlie, specifically, have there been any special memories for you from being at conventions or other events, whether you were there as a vendor or there as an attendee?
Ooh, gosh, I think every event has its own special moment. It's more so picking one. I think for events that I've attended as a vendor, or a signing author would definitely be, um, so I had my event in April, and then many months later, I had another event through the Grays Lake Library, and a reader came and visited me, and she said, "Did did the rest of your books come out?" And I was like, "Well, actually, I have 2 more books out since then." She's like, "Well, I just really wanted to tell you that you inspired me to start writing my book and, like, give me the rest that you have out right now." And, just hearing that, you know, that she wanted to buy more books, number 1, and that, you know, she's writing, that it, like, fuels me to keep going out there and to keep talking to people, and it's not for me, not necessarily about making sales or anything like that, because I think that what's more fulfilling is touching people, like, touching that creative soul in them, and yeah, nourishing that a little bit. But as an attendee, I'm at the Hobbits, and I mean, it was like 5 seconds, but that was just mind blowing. I, I was old enough where I was standing in line at the theaters waiting to get into the movies way back when, and just to see them live and in person, I was, oh my gosh, just fangirling so hard for that. And they're hilarious. Oh my gosh, they are so funny together. So after the photo op, we went to hear them speak, and they were just like off the cuff, hilarious, like Mary and Pippin.
When you get
Yeah.
those two together, craziness ensues. Potatoes. We've heard one, yes. What about second breakfast? There is no second. I mean, well, for some people, there may be second breakfast here in the States, but I don't know what time that would be. But if anyone has an estimate on that, let me know. Be curious. Someone was actually talking about this with us last night. They were talking about their love of Lord of the Rings, and they had the giant shirt on it that says the word potatoes
Yeah.
with their definition of what the word means printed on the shirt. So if you want to see that piece of wardrobe, feel free to go back and watch the latest episode of The Meaning of Fandom, which you can find on the Meaning of Fandom playlist on our YouTube channel. You're welcome. There you go. So we know what Charlie's going to be doing later. So with I've met Sean Astin.
Oh gosh.
Nice
Yeah.
guy. He's cool. He signed my Goonies print because, I'm sorry. Lord of the Rings, like, I respect it. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm always going to remember Sean Astin as Mikey or Rudy. It's one of the two.
Oh yeah, Rudy. Gosh, Bob, Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Gosh,
The
he's
brother to Drew Barrymore's
is
character in
it Doug,
Twisted
right?
Fate. He's
Was
Doug.
it Doug?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh, he's
Yeah.
so great. He's so
Yeah.
great. Or what was
Which
it
one?
Tin Soldiers?
Tin-
Where
Tin Soldiers?
the, like, mercenaries go into the boarding school, and Sean Astin is like running around. And oh gosh, the Will Wheaton was in
Yeah.
that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think so. Yeah.
Will Wheaton, fetch me, Will Wheaton, as Sheldon would say, because Sheldon and Will Wheaton are mortal enemies. And then he drops that iconic line midway through the series, Wheaton! It's because that's a nod to Khan from Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan, if you remember
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Sean Astin was a nice guy. He was cool. Hope to see him again someday and, have him sign a few other things. I think I have one or two I may have him sign. I'm not sure. I got to dig back and look at my collection. It's too many things for us to get signed, people. Being a collector is not easy. It's not.
No.
No.
You run out of space.
Look at Charli. Case in point. Look at how big her
I know.
bookshelves are.
It's there's lots back there.
Yeah. I see a lot of medals. I see a lot of books. I see a lot of toys or action figures, whatever those are.
A lot of helmets, cosplay nonsense.
Oh my gosh, you got helmets up there?
Yeah.
You got Mandalorian helmets. I'm so jealous.
Yep. So that is my Game of Thrones mashup, Mandalorian mashup.
Wow.
So it's got like the Kraken
wow.
piece up there, and
that's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then I've got my Kita mashup Mandalorian, the blue one over in that's my right.
Oh, there it is.
No, wait, my left.
On your left, Captain America. On your left.
Yeah.
See what I did there? Yeah, there's a reference for you.
We went to DC, and I really tried to get my kids to reenact that scene, but they were not having it.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe next time.
Can you do it next time? You're gonna take them to Awesome Con? Have them do it?
Oh, I don't know. They have gone to conventions with me. Their attention span is a lot shorter than mine.
That's a bummer.
So we went to the Star Wars celebration in Chicago a few years back. Oh, it was amazing. So I made them a custom Batman, Sith, and Superman Jedi.
I gotta see this.
Cosplays.
You gotta send me the pics.
Yeah, they were huge hits, and my daughter was a Ariel, but with like a trident with pink little laser things. Oh, it was so cute.
Oh, you gotta send me the pics of this. I gotta see this. That is, as someone who loves both Star Wars and DC, and a good part of Disney, that makes me feel so happy. So please do send me the pics. Slide into those DMs. That's great. Star Wars Celebration's on my bucket list for sure.
It was overwhelming. I wish that I had gotten. So we only did one day. I wish we had done all 3 days because we did not even remotely see everything.
No,
we probably saw like a quarter of what they had to offer.
Well, it's too big.
Yeah.
You need all 3 or 4 days just to walk around and enjoy the atmosphere and say hi to the fans. And I'm sure people were coming up to you in droves saying, your costumes are fan. Can we get a picture with you? Like, you were probably getting bombarded with photographers and people from the press coming over to take pictures of your outfits because they're fantastic, by the way.
Yeah, we had a lot of fellow cosplayers, so people that I knew from other events were there. So that was a lot of fun, and the kids were very excited to be a part of that, a part of that community, which I think is so important because it's not super mainstream. It's gotten better, but yeah, it's hard in we're in a little smaller suburb here.
Jeez, I hope to go to Star Wars Celebrations on my bucket list, and I hope to take my niece and my nephew to a Comic-Con because they said they wanted to go. I just haven't taken them yet, so hopefully that'll happen. Putting that into the universe, let's make it happen.
Yeah, manifest.
Manifest it, right? Manifest destiny. Speaking of Star Wars Celebration, have you been to Superman Celebration?
I have not. You mean the one in Illinois?
Yeah, Metropolis.
Yeah, no, I have not been to that one yet.
Man, millions of people keep telling me, Ryan, you're a Superman fan. What are you doing with your life? You need to get your butt up to Metropolis and go to Superman. I'm like, well, dude, I live down here. Metropolis, Illinois is all the way up there. Okay, I'm in the South here right now. I'm in North Carolina. So if you think from me going up there, it's a lot. It's a lot of money. So
yeah.
You got to be careful with your finances when it comes to going to very long distance conventions. It's one thing to go from here to a 3-hour convention, but from here to there, it's like Wilbur and the rest, the rescuers doing from here to here, here to there. Yeah, fair from here to there. It's ridiculous amounts.
My last signing was in Charleston, South Carolina.
How was it?
and it was awesome. They did a really good job with
Really?
publicizing and
Marketing?
yeah, yeah, marketing and just like the general decorating and stuff like that. Like a lot of people will do like, okay, we have these authors and we have the tables and here you go, have at it. But they like it was an experience when you went there. So like they had photo ops and they had an after party and they had like games and speakers going on. So it was like a little book con there, which was nice. So that was what they were calling it. So it
Right.
was Lust in the Low Country
Hmm.
convention.
Okay. Fantastic. I'd like to go to a book convention. It's just straight up authors like selling books. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that. If anyone knows of any of those in the areas of Carolinas or somewhere else for that matter, let me know. Slide into those DMs. Not like that though. So what else is cool is this episode of, and I quote, with Charlie Ray, who's given us fabulous pieces of advice about greatness of life and writing. So if you have any questions for her, let us know in the comments, let us know in the chat. And don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. They're going to like the way they look after watching or listening to Charlie Ray speak. We guarantee it. See what I did there? Free plugs, guys. Who would you say are some of your favorite writers of today, other than your big sister, Kelly Getner?
Yes. Uh, well, of today, w- I- Robert Jordan while he was alive, for sure. The Wheel of Time series is um was great. I used to work night shift and I would just pour through his series. George Martin, of course. Like waiting for that next book, buddy. But then Kara Marie Moning. So she's actually the first author that I read that had like true fantasy and romance intertwined. I'd read Terry Brooks when I was 16, which was how I got into what I would consider adult fantasy because it was all very PG before that. So then I got into Terry Brooks and it was we were kind of odd. It was an odd mix of us. So there was an ROTC guy, captain of the football team, and like me who like somewhat of a jock, somewhat of a nerd. So we had our own little book club where we would read fantasy adult books. And yeah, I don't like Token, but obviously not.
Second breakfast. Yeah. He's
Right.
the one who invented second breakfast for you. So you got to give him credit where credit's due,
I
right?
like the Hobbit eating schedule. It reminds me of, like time nutrition for, you know, people who are weightlifters or, bodybuilders and stuff like that. Like I think it's the exact same diet. It's the exact same eating schedule that they have.
Really? Wow. Okay. We're learning something new every day on this show. I gotta tell you, that's interesting. Well, that's awesome. For those of you who are interested in the genre, feel free to look up these writers at your will. So I heard a little birdie told me that you like to do something known as cosplay. Now, when did you start cosplaying?
Um, I've I've always been really, really into Halloween, and I feel like that's how it starts for a lot of people who get into cosplay, or they get into a fandom and just fall in love and they want to take that and make it their own. And that's kind of how I got into dressing up outside of Halloween. I went to a White Sox game on Game of Thrones night and I forced my husband and friends to dress up with me because it's my birthday and we're gonna dress up as GOT characters. So they all dressed up with me and we ran into Midwest Rose, which is a Game of Thrones cosplaying group. So um they gave me a card and we're like, we're going to be at the Renaissance Fair in Bristol, Wisconsin. And I was like, I go every single year. So I decided to go and I dressed up again. And they were like, you should come join our group, come hang out with us. And really the rest is history. That is how it started, but I probably make like 4 cosplays a year now. I was Audrey too for the parade. which, man, I do not recommend dressing as like a giant plant to carry around. And, and I think I walked a total of 3 miles with, and it was, I don't know how much it weighed, but it is a beast of a cosplay, and it was really fun. Um, Except I'm used to kids being excited to see me, and a few of them were afraid of me, which was a little humbling. I was like, "No, I'm in here. Like, it's not really a plant trying to eat you." So, yeah, I love it. Anything that I feel inspired by, I try to do a costume. So, for this past C2E2, the Chicago Comic Con, I was Queen Taramis from Conan the Destroyer, I believe it is. And
Uh,
that was it
was
Destroyer or
was that
I
Olivia Dabo's character?
I don't remember now.
The blonde girl? Was it the blonde hair girl?
No, the dark-haired with the queen, the evil queen.
Oh. Okay, I think
God.
that was Conan Destroyer. I don't think that was Barbarian, I don't think.
Yeah, I think it was Destroyer.
Yeah,
Um,
wasn't she played by Sarah Douglas too? Isn't it Sarah
Sarah
Douglas?
Douglas, I
Yeah,
think.
who played
Yeah.
Ursa in Superman 2. Yeah, okay, all
Yeah.
right. So we're getting a little bit of a throwback here for a
Yeah.
moment. But yeah. Okay, so you dressed up as that character, and what happened?
Yeah.
What
Oh,
did you
no, it
do?
was fantastic. That was like a dream cosplay. Like, I've wanted to create her forever. And I just so happened to see someone else doing a Conan cosplay, and I was like, done. I'm gonna wear this. And I was supposed to like, so I had helpers at my booth because that was I was invited to be at the writer's block, you know, promoting and selling my books. But I also was like, "Oh man, like my passions are clashing right now. Like I want to be here present for the book, but I also want to continue my own creative path here with cosplay." So I had my helpers, were actually my sisters, dress up as two of the characters from the books, and they sat at my booth as the characters promoting so that I can go be, character that I loved from my childhood, which was really nice.
That's amazing. I tried watching the first Conan movie, and I got 20 minutes into it, and I'm just like, this isn't doing it for me. I'm sorry. It wasn't
I
doing it for me. Doesn't do
I'm
it for me. And then I heard
convinced.
the second one is even worse than the first one. They threw that one under the bus. So I'm thinking, okay, well then I'm not going to waste another 2.5 hours of my life. Thanks.
Yeah, I think that it's like Legend for you, where if you didn't get into it in like the 80s
In the
or
beginning,
the
or when
90s,
I was younger. Yeah.
right, then it's just kind of it doesn't become that, like
Cult
cult
favorite.
classic, yes,
Yeah, it doesn't
for
become a
you.
cult classic. No.
Right.
Yeah, Conan doesn't do it for me. Although I will say there were parts of the remake with Aquaman, Jason Momoa, that I liked.
Yeah, I watched that one, but I think that I'm more of a classic 80s person.
Dangerous my trade.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, I can't remember what the other character I think it was played by Wilt Chamberlain,
yeah,
and, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger standing next to him is just insane. Like, these guys are
monsters.
beasts. Yeah.
Yeah, get to the chopper. Well, that's another thing. How many times did you watch Predator growing up? Did you watch
Yeah,
Predator a lot?
of course.
Get to the
Arnold
chopper.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, man, he was so
What about that
cute.
man shake in the beginning? You son of a ditch.
Mhm.
You know that. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That's what
Mhm.
we call man shake. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do your children ever reenact that scene? Like they just walk
They
up to each other and say, "Huh,"
They do not.
they don't.
So I've let them watch Terminator. We have not gotten to Predator. I think that Predator would be borderline scary for them. I
Yeah.
don't know why Terminator just wasn't. I think because for them it was so, like, the special effects were almost funny to them, you know?
The first one?
He
You
uh,
talking about the first one or the second one?
First and the second one, actually. I still think the second one is cool, but they're
First one.
like
First one's the best though.
first one is really good.
It is. It was made on a shoestring budget. And look what they did. Look what they did with it.
Yeah.
Practical effects. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. I mean, sure, there was a little, computer digital imagery was starting to come in, but
Yeah.
they couldn't really utilize it so much because it was in its infancy. But the Terminator is one of the most perfect, well put together practical effects, shoestring budget films you're ever going to see in film history, period. So because it's funny. I actually did everything in reverse as a kid. So I watched the sequels, but I never saw the originals of a lot of different franchises.
Oh, really?
I saw Last Crusade before Raiders. I saw T2 before The Terminator. I think I saw Predators before I even saw Predator and Predator 2 with Gary Busey. Hello, Utah, give me 2. So, I mean, Gary Busey's, come on. So I did everything in reverse. But when I went back and watched the originals, I thought these films are better. Like the originals, they're awesome. They hold
Yeah.
up. And the Terminator just happens to be one. Which, by the way, fun fact: the original, The Terminator, turns the big 4-0
Oh,
next year.
gosh.
Next year, yeah. Just like the Neverending Story, The Terminator. I mean, there's so many great classic '80s films that turn the big 4-0. We're gonna have a lot of movie anniversary watch-alongs here on this channel. Which, Charlie, if you want to hop in on one of those,
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
relive the greatness that was the '80s, you should sit down and talk with us. I think you'd enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll have to add you to the invite list for sure. Maybe we get the Phoenix Sisters on here for that. I don't know. Maybe we can get a reunion of the 3 superstars here: the Crayleys, the Kellys, and the Charlies. There you go. That's not going to be confusing. Which one's Crayley?
Yeah, right.
We'll switch up the order on camera, so you can tell who's who. You know what I mean? It's kind of like reorganizing like the Brady Bunch. So, but yeah, stay tuned for that. More details are coming on that very soon. So, what cosplays do you want to do but you haven't gotten a chance to yet?
Ooh, that's a good one. So right now on the docket of dream cosplays, a more recent one is Tamatoa from Moana, the crab. Like I saw that in the theater with my children and I'm like, I want to sing shiny and dress as a crab. And then not so recent, Meryl Streep in Death Becomes Her. I am in the process of convincing my sisters to dress up as Helen and like Goldie Hawn's character too. And was it Isabella, the woman who grants them eternal life? What is her name? I can't remember. But there's 3 of us, there's 3 of them. There is no reason why we can't make this happen at the next convention.
Okay. Not overly familiar with some of these properties you mentioned, but hey, it's all good.
Oh, Death Becomes Her. Oh my gosh, yeah.
No,
It's
never seen it.
it's a classic. Like
Never seen it.
Goldie Hawn, Meryl Streep. Oof. Oh, Bruce Willis is in it too.
Oh, John McClane?
Yes.
McClane. See, I saw everything in reverse. I saw Die Hard with a Vengeance before I saw Die Hard and Die Hard 2 and Live Free or Die Hard. That's what happened.
Okay.
That's why
Yeah.
Die Hard with a Vengeance is my favorite Die Hard movie. Plus, it's the funniest.
I I'm a
It
number
is.
1 fan. Like
Which
the
is
Die
a
Hard,
lot
the
of people
first
say
one.
that. A lot of people say
Yeah.
that, which is fair. But for me, Die Hard with a Vengeance is way better. I'm sorry. Sorry, Charlie. But
Yeah.
Die Hard, I know. I'm curious. How many times did people throw that at you when you were a kid?
Oh gosh, all the time. Choo choo Charlie. I'm sorry, Charlie. Charlie Bucket. I've heard it all.
Charlie Bucket from Willy Wonka?
Yep.
Is that what that was?
Yes.
Jeez. I'm sorry you got thrown that one. Oh, boy.
Again, aging myself. Just
It's okay. Age is just a number, Charlie. Remember that. But on the bright side, even though he tells him in the first part of that movie that he lost, he actually ended up winning at the end. So, Charlie's the real winner, even though Willy Wonka was very upset with him in the beginning, right?
Right.
It's all here, black and white, clear as crystal. Remember that?
Yeah.
You stole fizzy lifting drinks. You bumped into the ceiling, which now has to be washed and sterilized, so you get nothing.
I
You
always felt like
lose.
that was a test,
Good
you
day,
know?
sir. Mhm,
Like he was pushing him to put the everlasting gobstopper down.
mhm.
And that was the final test. And Charlie passed, man.
It was
Oh
a
my
big
God.
test though, because with someone like
Right.
that yelling at your face when you're only like 10 or 12 years old, like that's gonna throw me for a loop.
So I would agree with that. My kids, I think they'd be like, I don't want your stupid gum. Take your gum back. Like,
They would throw it right back at you and say,
right.
I'm moving on to something else. I'm gonna dive back into my Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
Anybody
Get
remember
my
those?
Switch out.
Yeah, I had a Game Boy Advance at one point. I remember when Game Boy came out with Game Boy Color. That was a revolutionary thing for the time.
Oh, yeah, no, we had
What did you have?
the Nintendo and then Sega Genesis.
Sega.
Yeah. And that was it for the longest time until we got an Xbox.
Really? You didn't even have a PlayStation?
Mm-mm.
No
Nope.
PS1, no PS2. There was nothing there.
Nope.
Man, you missed out, Charlie.
Yeah, I
You
know.
missed out
Well,
on some
I've made
great.
up for it now. Now I have a PS5.
Oh, jeez. Are those
Yeah.
things backwards compatible? Can you play the games from the previous iterations of PlayStation on that thing?
I don't know. So my husband has a dusty PS3 over here.
Oh my God.
So I haven't tried to pull those games up. And my sons are very much Super Mario inclined, and that's all Nintendo. So the PlayStation only gets used for me.
Hmm. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. What's your favorite PlayStation game?
I like the Harry Potter one, the Hogwarts Legacy. That was a lot of fun for me. I had a ton of fun on that. And this is I'm more of a like a decorator because I'm very bad at video games.
Oh,
So once the bestiary opened up, I'm like, "Oh, I get to go in and feed my animals."
yeah. You'd rather be playing like Sims and Sim City or whatever it is
Uh,
rather than.
Animal Crossing,
Animal
Dreamlight
Crossing.
Valley. I know, I'm the worst. It's because
Wow.
I have been playing video games since I was a little kid, and I am just horrible. Like,
No,
I'm really horrible at it.
you're not good at Mortal Kombat or like Need for Speed Underground. Like
I
you're
will
not.
punch buttons as fast as I can, but there is no rhyme or reason to it.
Wow.
0 skill,
Wow.
but, the spirit is there.
You tried. You tried. Even though Yoda keeps telling us, do or do not. There is
Yeah.
no try. You know, it's that's fair. That's fair. Growing up, I think my favorite Genesis game would have been the Avengers video game. That was a good one. When it was
Okay.
Captain America and Gambit, I think, or whoever it was, like going up against Galactus and some other enemies in the Marvel universe. That was fun. Yeah. Another game we
Yeah.
played a lot on Genesis was NBA Jam. NBA Jam was a big one because sport. My brothers are sports fans, whereas I am not. I'm a movie guy. Sue me.
Yeah.
Sports isn't my thing, people. Movies are my language. Don't ask me who's playing center wing for the Colorado Avalanche because I don't care. I don't care. I,
I think that, like, memorizing all of those players and, like, where
it's too
they went to
much.
college and
It's
all
too
that stuff,
much.
there's gotta be, like, an offset of autism, like, there's gotta be a little bit in
Oh
there
yeah,
because the ability to remember all of that is just it's like the movie lines, like, to be able to quote that verbatim.
yeah.
I'm like,
No, yeah. And I'm sure there are those individuals who have autism who are very gifted in remembering sports statistics, sports facts, and remembering. I mean, someone
yeah,
I used to, I wouldn't say work with, but I've seen him. I've worked with him a few times, but not a whole lot. He really knows his stuff about movies, and then another guy knew a lot about sports. And I'm thinking, all right, well, if there's ever a trivia night at the local bar, downtown Chicago somewhere or whatever, you just go to the bars and live it up, guys, because I sure as heck can't do it.
yeah, you got a good team there.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to know more about sports, just ask these folks. Don't ask me though, 'cause I don't know anything about sports, Charlie. The only thing I know is that there's a ball. It goes into a net. It goes into a hoop or baseball. You have to hit a ball out of a Fenway Park or something. I don't know.
It's funny you mentioned that. I did a baseball trivia last year for charity, and I was completely useless until they did the movie references, and I was
Yes,
like, "Gotcha.
yes,
This is what I was brought in for."
yeah. I know sports movies, but I don't play sports.
Right, exactly.
Isn't that
Yes.
the old saying that we always tell each other? Was the line brought up during your trivia competition? If you build it, he will come.
Funny, that is where my husband's hometown is, Dyersville, Iowa.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Where the Field of Dreams. Oh
Yes.
my gosh, that's on my bucket list too. I want to visit that Field of Dreams and just feel the vibe. I want to feel it.
Yeah.
I want to feel it. I want to walk out into that field and see all those players playing ball. Maybe I'll see my dad.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll show up out of the corner.
Come out of the corn stalks.
No, I'm serious.
Mm.
Like you never know. Like if you believe in the spirituality of it, you could like close your eyes for a moment, and then all of a sudden your loved ones could just come out of the field of corn and be like, "Where have you been? I've been looking all over for you." And then you could just relive happy memories with your loved ones. So.
I like that.
Yeah, and Field of Dreams is another. That would probably be in my top 10 movies of all time.
Oh, I mean, it goes without saying, like, my husband jokes that he has a non-sexual crush on Kevin Costner after that.
Ray Kinsella. Really?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Ray Kinsella. Yeah. It's a great movie. Great movie. Great actors. Burt
Mhm.
Lancaster's last movie before he passed away, actually. He played Doc Graham, for those of you wondering which character
Yeah.
we're referring to. He was the guy in the sport coat and the hat, you know what I'm talking about? So
And
there
he
you
was
go.
the young player.
Well, that was Frank Whaley, but the older
Yeah.
version, like who was the
Yes.
doctor version of Doc Graham,
The
was
character.
Burt Lancaster. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, the older version of what you're talking about was Burt Lancaster. The younger version was Frank Whaley. So
Mm.
just there is degree of separation. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, it was the line. The,
Yeah.
like, foul
Yeah,
line.
he sees him before he and then he sees him as a young kid when he comes back in the second half of the movie. So just be aware. Minor spoiler for a movie that's been out for over 35 years. So there you go. Once again, this is the incredible, and I quote, with romantasy and cosplay extraordinaire, Charli Rahe. Don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. If you have any questions for her, by all means, put them in the comments, put them in the chat. If this is your first time here, welcome. We hope you've enjoyed the craziness that has ensued. When it comes to cosplay, what do you enjoy more, solo cosplay or group cosplay?
Oh, group for sure. Oh, I love group cosplays. You get a good team of people and, you make a little page or a temporary group and you share your progress and you pump each other up and, you know, get the motivation from one another. And I like the final product. Like you get the photographer and, everybody just blends and then you kind of travel in a pack, to the conventions and stuff. And it is fun. That is my favorite part for sure.
What advice would you give to aspiring cosplayers?
Oh man, this is terrible advice and good advice. Don't throw anything out because you never know what you can use. Which my husband would completely disagree with. But if you look in my crafting slash creative cave here, I have got you can see like I've got sketches over there and my homemade body form is down there, the one I use when I need to paint stuff. Yeah, I don't throw anything out. It's kind of a problem, but also I had a stick from a tree we cut down in my yard from like 5 years ago, and I use it in a cosplay, like, obviously 5 years later. And my husband joked, he's like, "Finally, you found a use for it." I was like, "And I'm so glad I didn't throw it away." But this stick was in my garage for so long and just kind of propped in the corner because I knew I was gonna need it. It was a good stick. You don't get rid of a good stick.
Walk softly and carry a big stick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's what someone once said in a movie or TV series that I may or may not have seen. Charlie, just throwing that out there for an example. Have you been to a convention where you meet a celebrity and you're in cosplay and they're just overwhelmed by the greatness that is your cosplay?
Yes. Kit Harington in my Game of Thrones Mandalorian mashup. I was totally unprepared for the full-on conversation that we had because he was just in awe of it, and I was too starstruck to make any sense, but he was lovely. He was absolutely lovely.
Wow. So instead of not knowing anything, Jon Snow, he knew a lot.
Yeah, or he wanted to know a lot. He was,
Yeah.
eager to learn.
Ego to like, you know nothing. You know nothing. Get out. Anyway, sorry. It's one of the few things I know about GOT. I've never seen the show, but I've seen the T-shirts that have been floating around the
Oh,
internet.
yeah.
Because you know nothing, Jon Snow. All I do, or what is it like Game of Thrones? I drink. Something something. I drink something. I can't remember what it says. If you remember the line where it says, "I drink and I or eat, read books" or something. I don't know. I can't remember. It's like a weird inscription of a quote.
Yeah, Tyrion's quote.
Tyrion's
Like,
quote.
"I
Yeah,
drink and I know things," or
yeah, I drink and I
something?
know
Yeah.
things. That's it.
Mhm.
Yeah, there was that. You know nothing, Jon Snow. Just there's been
Yeah.
some GOT shirts floating around the interwebs, and I'm thinking, okay, yeah. All I know is everyone dies in the end. So what does that mean? I've never seen the show, so I can't really comment or speculate. I've only seen the red wedding sequence. That's all I've seen.
Yeah, that was it when we watched that, so my husband, is not into fantasy, he's definitely more,
John Wick.
Yeah, like action, western,
James Bond, maybe.
military. Yeah, like that type of stuff. History, anything that's old.
History.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones's history.
But
So.
I got him to watch it, and it was, The Red Wedding. I knew what was gonna happen because I read the books while I was pregnant with my daughter. That's where my love of it comes from because I hadn't read a fantasy series written by a man where the women were so, uh, not relatable, but, like, just so well written where it could have been written by a woman, and I was just so impressed with it. Um but anyways, I was, like, hiding under a blanket during the red wedding sequence because I knew it was gonna happen, and I knew they were gonna make it worse because that's what they did in the series, the TV series. So I was just, like, sobbing quietly under a blanket, like, "Oh, no," and he's like, What is happening?"
Yeah, you're crying, honey. It's like someone lost your dog or something.
Yeah, yeah, and I really liked Rob, so it was
Mm, some characters are not meant to last very long, so I don't know.
No, when I initially started reading, I thought that Ned was the main character, and that was not the case at all.
Was that Sean Bean's character?
Yes.
Yeah, great actor, but apparently he ends up
Yeah.
dead in everything he's ever been in, minus National Treasure, where in National Treasure with Nick Cage, he just gets arrested at the end. Hashtag minor spoiler for a film that's been out for 20 years. I know. That movie turns 20 next year. National Treasure, I mean, the first one. The original.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
like that movie?
we watched that before we went to DC, so
Did
kids
you?
could fully appreciate, you know?
Did they like it? Did you like it?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like Nick Cage, I don't know.
I mean,
I like his
he's a few French fries short of a Happy Meal, but
Yeah, yeah. Like, I wouldn't want to hang out with him a lot, but I would like to go to a party where he's at.
mm, okay. Maybe
Big
that'll come true for you. Who knows?
Maybe.
Crazier things have happened in life, right?
Right.
I mean, if you had told me I'd be doing a podcast 25 years ago, I would have said you were nuts.
Yeah, I almost, ran over Mike Myers plowing my way up an escalator
No
by
kidding.
well, it was the Second City building where they used to be,
Oh yeah.
and I worked at the, gym on the first floor. So I was just, rushing after lunch, and we, like, came face to face with each other, and I was like I knew who he was, and I'm like, "Okay, be cool." I'm like, "Sorry." Just casually moved back to the escalator to head on down. Poor guy. He was definitely startled too, so but yeah,
Wayne,
maybe I'll run into Nick Cage, but I
you
think it
never
would
know.
yeah.
Wow. Wayne Campbell and Austin Powers and Doctor Evil rolled into one. And you bumped into him in the escalators.
An escalator, yeah.
Wow. What was his reaction to you? He was just like, "How dare you?" Or he was just like, "Oh,
No,
sorry, miss.
no.
You can walk past me. Don't worry about it."
He was completely startled. When I am single-minded on my path, I'm not paying attention, which is a problem. But usually there aren't people on the escalators at that time because part of the building was closed, so I didn't expect anyone. And I don't think that he expected anyone either. So we were both kind of like, "Oh."
Wow. Wow. You met one of the biggest fish in the pond. Good on you. I'm proud of you. That's good work. Now, if someone were to offer you a part in a movie or TV series, what part or what series or what movie
Ooh,
would you want to be in?
gosh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Um, hmm. I think right now I would probably want to be a barrel racer on Yellowstone. Um, just because I mean Kevin Costner and the actress who plays Beth. I would love to see her like the choreography for the fight scenes that she does. Like how does that go down? And like I love the barrel racers. Like they make them all spicy and proud and I like that.
Wow. Cue
Even
up.
though I'm afraid of horses, so it wouldn't really work out very well for me, but
Oh,
I
okay.
would have to adapt.
Gotcha. I was gonna say cue up the Western theme
Yeah,
for
yeah,
Charlie here, because you're all about romantasy, but I don't hear Western coming from you. Now all of a sudden you're telling me you're a
yeah.
Westerns fan. I'm like, oh,
I'm I am eclectic. I'm in a little bit of everything.
Okay. All right. So, well, outside of the greatness that's Kevin Costner, what other westerns do you like?
Oh, Clint Eastwood, man.
Name's chosen Wells. Alive or dead, it's your choice. Yeah, some good lines there. Some good lines for sure. All right, Eastwood's a good one. Any favorite Eastwood western that you like the most, or you just like them all? It doesn't matter what flavor of the week it is.
Oh gosh, I haven't watched them in ages.
You should revisit them then.
What's that?
You should revisit them then.
I know, I
Just
should. Some of them, I'm always surprised at how gritty they are, like, on the second watch. The first one, I feel like I'm just, I don't know, like, I was younger and a lot of things went over my head, and then the second time, I'm like, "I cannot believe that they got away with sneaking this in." I feel that way about a lot of movies from back then, though.
oh, okay. Yeah, it's funny. Some movies for me hold up, and then some certainly do not.
Yeah,
When you're
absolutely.
when you're a kid, you think certain movies, like A Kid in King Arthur's Court, is one of the best things in the world, and then you watch it 30 years later, and you think to yourself, "Ew, cringe." So
Yeah.
doesn't work. Some movies just do not work. A Kid in King Arthur's Court with Thomas Ian Nicholas, and fun fact: long before these characters were made into household, these actors, I should say, were made into household names. Kate Winslet and Daniel Craig were in A Kid in King Arthur's Court
Really?
long before he was ever James Bond, and long she was ever before Rose in the movie known as Titanic. She was in A Kid in King Arthur's Court with the young up and coming actor at the time, Thomas Ian Nicholas. So
I'm gonna write
everybody's
that
got to
down.
start somewhere, folks. I mean,
Yeah.
Kate Winslet doesn't seem to age, so she was beautiful back then. She still is today. I'm not going to
Oh,
sugarcoat it. And then
have
Daniel
you
Craig, he had long blonde hair in this movie. So if you go back and watch that or revisit it, look at it. Look at how much he's changed from that to Bond. It's ridiculous.
have you seen Kate Winslet in Mare of Easttown?
I never even heard of that.
It's
What is that?
well, what once was HBO is now Max. It's
Yeah, okay.
a limited series. It's a little bit gritty detective series. She's really good. She's really, really good in it.
I've never heard of this before. You're gonna have to send me the link so I can watch the trailer.
Yeah, I can't remember who else is in it, as far as, like, mainstream actors or actresses. Um, Roy from The Office is in it, if you are an Office fan.
Mm.
He plays her ex-husband.
Oh
Um,
wow,
yeah.
big name cast,
Yeah.
so to speak. Uh, I can learn more about that as we go along. So yeah, westerns are a good genre. If you're ever if you're looking to rediscover some westerns, there's plenty of Eastwood movies, plenty of other films starring other actors. There's some great TV series like Justified and Longmire. You know,
Yeah.
you know,
Lonesome Dove
Lonesome
from
Devil's
when way back when.
way, but which is long before my time. Sorry, Charlie, no offense. So I didn't mean to drop the.
No, okay.
Sorry. I want to bring up bad childhood memories here for you. But yeah, there's plenty of great westerns out there, and some great western books too. So
One of my favorite blends with fantasy and, like, Western is,
Westworld,
no, Westworld is good. I did cosplay
did
one
you?
of their characters, yes, but, Gunslinger, Stephen King's series,
Oh,
really good.
yeah, the Gunslinger, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, The Dark
really good.
Tower wasn't a great movie, but Idris Elba was fantastic as the Gunslinger.
Yes. I when it
Dark
comes
Tower.
to series or books that I really, really love,
Hmm.
I will wait to watch it if I hear bad reviews on it because I don't want it to mess with my mental image of it because I thought the series was one of a kind. The book series was one of a kind. Like, I haven't read anything else like it. Where, they've got, like, the gunslinger and he's kind of like a time traveler and a world traveler, and then Stephen King, like, inserts himself into the series, and that was just I was like, "You can do that?"
Total mind blower. But just out of curiosity, though, what did you think of the movie The Dark Tower with Idris Elba and McConaughey?
I wouldn't watch it. I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch it. You didn't even
Mm-mm.
bother.
No, when the reviews started coming out, so I was very excited, and, I wanted to see the twist that they would do because race is a huge component for some of the characters and the way that they interact with one another. So I was kind of excited about that, but then as the reviews came out that it wasn't that great, I was like, "Oh." I'm like, "Well, I still might watch it, but I'm reluctant. I'm reluctant to watch it." It's how I felt about, what was it? Allegiant? What was that
You mean the
series again?
Divergent series,
Yes,
Elite?
yes. So I
Yeah.
watched the first 2 and I was like, "Okay, we'll see where this is going," but then I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm not gonna finish this. It's not going where I want it to go."
Yeah, that was the YA phase of Hollywood. They were adapting a
Yeah,
lot of YA properties, and some
yeah,
were working with Hunger Games, some were not. And then years later, they rebooted them. For example, they did it with a reboot of The Golden Compass with Daphne Keane at the center of that one. His Dark Materials, I think they were called.
yes.
The series was not the original movie was Golden Compass. And then you
Mhm.
have the reboot, I should say, of Percy Jackson, The Olympians is coming out very soon. A lot of people
Yeah.
are excited about that. So that's coming. You also have the Hunger Games prequel is coming out next weekend. The Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, about a young, very young President Snow before he becomes President Snow. And I got to tell you, that prequel looks pretty darn intriguing to me.
Yes.
I'm intrigued.
I haven't read it. So,
I never read the books. I mean, I only read the first book of the series. I read The Hunger Games before the film came out because my brother was a teacher at the time, and he was like, "Hey, my students are loving this. Like, you should really read it. It's really good." And I was like, "What do
yeah,
you mean?" He said, "It's a great series." I'm like, "Well, what is it?" It's YA. I'm like, YA? He's like, "No, no, no, no. Don't let that fool you. Like, it's
they
a
did
dark. Like, it gets gritty, man."
they
So
did a good job.
I read the first book, and then I saw the movie. It was great. Loved it. Even though they obviously every movie takes creative liberties with adapting a story, they always do.
Right.
Hollywood's been doing it since the very beginning, but the little what do you call it, tweaks that
Mhm.
they made in the first film, I didn't mind it. It didn't bother me really. And then they just went batting 1,000 with the Hunger Games Catching Fire. My gosh, that film just amped up the stakes like tenfold. And with the addition of, he's unfortunately no longer with us, Philip Seymour Hoffman as Plutarch Heavensbee, if I remember correctly, was fantastic because I didn't know he was going to pull that twist at the end. That was great. I love that twist because I didn't read the books going into the movie. I just only read the first one. So if you've never seen the Hunger Games and the Hunger Games Catching Fire, watch the two movies back to back. That is a solid one-two punch. Would you say?
Yeah.
I don't know, but the prequel looks good.
Yeah, it looks on par with the
I would
rest of the
I would
series.
venture to say so. Don't you think?
Yeah.
I'll probably sit down and watch it. You and I should discuss. We should compare notes at some point. I don't know. So, if someone was going to make a movie about your life, who would you want to play you?
Ooh. Oh gosh, that's tough. Um, hmm. So I've been told in person that I could pass for Maya Rudolph when my hair is darker. Um, but I don't think that it would be a comedy, maybe a dark comedy. Um, yeah, I don't know. It would definitely be somebody with a comedic background for sure. Um, but also somebody with a lot of drama experience,
Hmm. All
which I
right.
I can't think of anybody else.
Kristen Wiig, Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, I don't think I would do Jennifer Lawrence just because she's a little bit younger.
Well, she would play like if your movie was set in stages, she would play like a younger iteration of you. Is what I'm
That
saying.
would be I would be okay with that. I do like Jennifer Lawrence. She's got great comedic timing for a dramatic actress. I really like that about her. I just watched her.
No hard feelings.
Oh gosh, have you seen that one?
I made the mistake of watching clips of it on YouTube, and I'm thinking, why would parents hire this woman to date their son and do all these inappropriate things when he's barely not even out of his teens?
Right. It was a weird. It was parts of it I really liked. Parts of it where I was like, this makes me a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was just kind of confused
Yeah.
by they go skin. Excuse me for saying this. They go skinny dipping. There's a scene where she's trying to seduce him and come on to him. Pretty.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the word, but pretty. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking, Jennifer, you don't have to try so hard. Like, you don't. None of these characters have to try so hard.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, Jennifer. you're watching this. Don't worry about it. You don't have to try so hard to what am I trying to say? Flirt with another human being or whatever. It's just you're
Yeah.
beautiful as you are, so just let it slide.
I do think they wanted her to be purposely abrasive, and I
Extremely.
think I think they were trying to go for, like, that old school raunchiness,
Hmm.
it just didn't quite hit that way, and I don't think that movies do hit that way as much anymore because I think that our mentality has changed, and it just doesn't sit the same anymore.
No, no. People's attitudes have changed. People's
Yes,
sense of humor has changed. The
yes,
cancel culture is kind of a big deal right now, which that's a whole other discussion.
right.
But hey, I digress. So our good friends here want to let you know that, and I quote, this episode, I should say, and every episode of And I Quote is indeed powered by our good friends over there at Poddecks. Now get this, Poddecks are unique interview questions and episode starting prompts in the palm of your very own hand. So whether you're a new podcaster or what is known as a existing broadcaster looking to grow your audience or get more engagement, you're going to want to check out our friends over there at poddecks.com. Use that promo code Ryan10, that's RYAN 10 for 10% off your first order. Do not miss out on that opportunity. So Poddecks wants to know, Charlie, what are you superstitious about?
Oh, this is gonna be a weird one. Wearing earrings at my daughter's cheer competitions. So I have one earring or one set of earrings that one of my favorite authors complimented when I met her, and I'm convinced that this person is has some like a witchy vibes, and I think that there's a little bit of like a little blessing on these earrings because every time I wear them, she's won. So her cheer competition, my daughter. So I like to, even if I don't wear it, I will put it in my pocket. So that's my biggest weird superstition.
To each their own, I say.
Right.
It's, it's okay. Just out of curiosity, though, has your daughter seen all 600 of the Bring It On movies?
No, because those are wildly inappropriate when I rewatch them as an adult.
Even the first one?
Even the first one.
The OG with Kirsten Dunst before,
Yeah.
right as she was starting to become
Oh,
Kirsten
they
Dunst?
they snuck in a few jokes
Spirit
and
Fingers?
oh, like, yeah, kind of, yeah.
You don't like that? No.
No,
There's no such
there's
thing as Spirit
th
Fingers, Charlie.
there's a scene where there's a co-ed stunt, and as a kid, I had no idea what I was watching, or not as a kid, but as even, like, a young adult, I did not realize what I was watching until later. I was going to play it for I was, um, helping a team, my daughter's 3rd grade team, and I was like, "Well, watch Bring It On, but I'm gonna pre-screen it a little bit."
Mhm.
And I did that, and I was like, "Thank goodness I did not play this for these little kids
Well, then
because"
what was plan B then if you couldn't play Bring It On?
Oh, Disney. Disney's always safe fallback. Any Disney animation is good.
Oh, Disney Animation, so you didn't show them any of the Disney sports
Yeah.
movies? Okay.
No, just went with
Not even
easy
Mighty
stuff.
Ducks?
Oh, Mighty Ducks would have been good.
I mean, you
Yeah.
coulda shown them Mighty Ducks, that's classic. The first 3 movies are fantastic, come on now.
Yeah, my sons like Mighty Ducks. And
Hey.
the show, the series.
Yeah, I never got around to watching those 2 seasons, and they removed it from the streaming service, so now I can't see Mighty Ducks Game Changers, which ticks me off because I wanted to watch that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I read about it. I was looking for it a few days ago, and I noticed it wasn't there, and I'm like, "Well, where is it? Why isn't it under Mighty Ducks when I type it in the search bar?" And then I
Yeah.
Googled it, and they said they removed it from the service because it got canceled, and they wanted to save costs. They wanted to cut costs, so they removed the Mighty Ducks reboot slash sequel series known as Game Changers, but you still have the original 3 movies, and you have the animated series from the 90s.
Oh, okay.
So you can still stream the original properties, you just can't stream anything that's rebooted. And I'm thinking, well, that's just wrong because I want to see the new stuff. I
Yeah.
want to see the cameos from the original Ducks. I want to see what Gordon Bombay's been up to the last 30 years. Like, come on.
And it was good. I didn't think it was bad or anything. That's
Mm, I never got to see it. If someone, if they put it out on physical media someday, I'll just buy it and watch it. I don't know. I have the original 3 movies on DVD. Why not? So, yeah, physical media proponent here. So, you know, you never know when someone's going to remove something from a streaming service. Well, they ripped this one away from me. How dare you?
yeah.
No Bash Brothers. Quack, 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 Mr. Ducksworth. Remember that one?
Yes.
Great score, too. The score from the first movie. Oh, such a good score. Kind of reminded me of Phil Collins a little bit.
Gosh, no.
Yeah. You like Phil Collins? No?
I do like Phil
You
Collins.
like Phil Collins? Okay.
Yeah, but now I don't remember the score from the first movie.
Well, I mean, it was done by a different composer, but I'm just saying that it's very reminiscent of music
Yeah.
that Phil Collins would have composed had he been the composer for Mighty Ducks. If you watch the
Okay.
first 5 minutes of the first movie, you can go back and watch on Disney Plus. Hashtag not a sponsor. You can watch the first 5 minutes and just think to yourself, this is literally what Phil Collins would have done if he was composing this movie. Honestly, it's really good. I would invite you to go back and
Yeah.
watch and listen to that. Really, I mean, you can find the clip of it on YouTube. Just type in Mighty Ducks intro, and the first 3 minutes come up, and you can watch it there. Yeah, just saying. There are
Perfect.
loopholes, guys.
Oh, yeah.
There's loopholes when it comes to that. But yeah, so superstitious about that. All right. Well, hey, good thing you didn't put him through the trauma of Bring It On. So well done, Mom. So well done, Charlie. Which activities make you lose track of the time?
Oh, reading. Reading for sure. That's even writing. I will
Mhm.
lose track of the time, but reading hands down, I will look down, look up, it's an hour later. I'm like, oh crap. And I'm really bad with keeping track of time anyway. So
Yeah,
it doesn't take too much.
I see.
And also crafting. I do a lot of craft. Even without costumes, I do crafts for my daughter's team and stuff like that. So
No way.
I can lose time very easily.
That's awesome. What do you make? Like, what do you craft? What's the deal?
Like I will customize clothing with the team name and stuff. I did a custom like squishmallow
Mhm.
with like the team name and the girls' names on it and stuff like that. So
Oh,
yeah.
well done, soccer mom.
Yeah. Thank
Nothing
you.
wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Good stuff. Podex wants to know: do you have an area of your life that you are never satisfied with?
God, but all areas. Always, I am my own whip forever. Um, I would say sewing though.
Hmm.
I just can't. I'm like stuck in this like beginner intermediate stage and I just can't get into the advanced. It's probably because I only do it when I absolutely need to get something done.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't really practice as much as I should in order to achieve the next level.
Achieve the level of over 9,000.
Right.
There's a pop culture reference for the ages. Just remember what Yoda taught us: do or do not. There is no try.
Right.
That's all you gotta do. Name something on your to-do list that never gets done.
Painting my basement. Um, I there we moved in here 2015 and I I've never painted it. I've wanted to repaint it forever.
8 years.
Yeah, and I just haven't.
Mm.
Because there's always something else that like has to get done, and this is more of a want to get done.
Oh, I see. I see. Well, we do hope it gets done. Hey, the new year of 2024 is around the corner. So, in the words of Shia LaBeouf's, just do it.
Right.
Just pull a Nike. Just do it. Wear your Nikes when you're doing it. Just wear the Nikes. If you own a pair of Nikes. If you don't, that's fine too. Nikes have been around for so long that sometimes we forget there are other brands of shoes out there. So just remember, it's okay to wear New Balances. Okay.
I
Seriously,
mean, the older you get, I gotta tell you, the New Balances are really comfortable.
I wear New Balances. I don't have a
Yeah,
problem with that.
so do I.
I mean, Charlie and I are both in our primes, and we wear New
Right.
Balances. We're not old. We're just kids at heart. That's all.
Yeah.
Throwing that out there. Hashtag New Balance is not a sponsor of this program, but they got some good shoes though. If they ever make a Star Wars or a DC themed kind of shoe, maybe I'll buy those. I don't know. Give us a holler. Maybe you can make a Superman shoe. I don't know. Maybe a Game of Thrones shoe for Charlie. Maybe Charlie can get
Oh
herself a
gosh.
pair of Game of Thrones shoes. How about those? Would you wear those sneakers every day of your life?
I
Probably would.
probably would.
Would you? Okay. I'll have to add that to your.
If they were comfortable enough, I absolutely would.
I tell you
I'd
what, you can add those to your wish list.
I will.
How about that? You do
I
that?
could probably customize my own pair.
Oh. Well, you are the crafty one. So, see what I did there? You're welcome. So you can craft it yourself. No worries. Let's see here. Poddex wants to know something very important. What is the most important thing to carry with you all the time?
Water. Oh man. I am a like drink goblin for sure. I always have to have at least one drink, and typically that's water with me.
Water. That's how it feels clean, feels cold. And that's how the quality H2O. Anyone else grow up watching The Waterboy? No? Am I the only one?
Yeah.
Charlie didn't watch it? Okay.
No, definitely gotta watch it. Any that like Adam Sandler stage. I'm still kind of in it because he's so big on that streaming service. So we, pop in there and we're fans. So
Okay. The Waterboy's a good one. You know what's a really good
Mhm.
one is The Wedding Singer.
My favorite.
Oh, is it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's your favorite Sandler movie or favorite
Steve
rom-com?
Buscemi in that.
That's the best
Just
man?
oh god.
You mean it's the best man? The better man?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, he's fantastic. Pretty with Steve Buscemi in any Adam Sandler movie is fantastic.
Crazy Eyes in
Oh
Mr.
yeah.
Deeds?
Yeah.
There's nothing crazy going on here. There's nothing wrong with my eyes. What you talking about? No. Did you like his performance? I mean, this is outside the realm of Sandler, but did you like his performance in Reservoir Dogs?
I did. Mr. Pink, right?
Yeah,
Is
the guy
that
who doesn't like to tip.
yeah.
Remember that? You don't
Yeah.
believe in tipping?
It's been a long time, but
All
yeah.
right. Well, look up the 2.5 minute sequence called "Mr. Pink Doesn't Like to Tip" on YouTube, and you'll laugh out loud. And you may agree with what he's saying, or you may not agree with what he's saying about tipping. It's like, aren't you going to throw in some money? No, I don't believe in it. You don't believe in tipping. You know what these people make? They make blank. I don't tip because society says I have to. If you want, if they're doing a really good job, I'll give them something extra. But I mean, tipping automatically is for the birds. You don't have any idea what you're talking about. This is the number one occupation for so and so in this country. It's the one thing. It's the one job any person can get and make a living on. The reason is because of the tips. Forget all that. Gee, I'm sorry the government taxes their tips. That's messed up. That's not my fault. Anyway, going from a weird quoting tangent here. I apologize. And we're not trying to get into the differences between not tipping and tipping somebody at a restaurant or a
Right.
establishment. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying one is right and one is wrong. I'm just quoting here. So don't say that this is not my personal belief. Okay. I'm just pointing that out there. Steve Buscemi is the one who's saying these lines, not me.
Yes.
I'm just quoting it, even though I probably shouldn't have. Things happen. But Charlie, I think you get my drift. If you could just go on
Yes.
YouTube and watch the tipping scene, you'll get what I'm saying. It's a
I
funny,
will.
but yet it's a funny, but yet conversational topic to have. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it at that. But water is very important because if you don't drink X amount of water every day, it's not healthy. So I called H2O is good for the soul. Am I right?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, glad we got that out of the way. Well, listen, I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to the incredible Charli Rahe for being our guest on this episode of And I Quote. Goodness gracious, Charlie, we've run the gamut from books to cosplay to fandoms to Adam Sandler movies to Tom Hanks movies and everything in between. So I don't know about you, but I've had a gosh darn good time. So
Me
Charlie,
too.
if the person wants to know more about you or follow your incredible pieces of work known as books, because all you got to do is take a look, it's in a book. Where can the person watching or listening follow you on social media?
I have a website, charlierahe.com. Also, Charli Rahe author or author Charli Rahe on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram.
Fabulous. Charlie, thank you so much for being here. You are excellent in so many different ways, and you got a bright future ahead of you. You're going to be kicking a lot of tail, taking a lot of names, and you're going to need a much, much bigger house to house all those books, crafty thingamajiggerbobbers, and maybe you'll find another random stick.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. I will take any quality stick. Save it in my garage.
Walk softly and carry a big stick is what a wise person would say. But Charlie, this has been a lot of fun. My name is Ryan of Neuroculture. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5 if you want to enjoy more chaos. Also, we're getting dangerously close to hitting what is known as 1,000 subscribers here, Charlie. Once we do, we're going through a great big live stream celebration. It's going to include returning guests such as the incredible Charli Rahe, maybe Kelly and Crayley and everyone from, the Phoenix Sisters familia will be sitting in a tree and just hanging out with friends. So they're more than welcome to join us. And you're going to be eligible to win some great special giveaways we're going to be having here once we reach 1,000. And maybe Charlie or someone you know of could be walking away with prints like these, such as Star Trek from our friend, The Art of John Pinto on Instagram and Facebook. Feel free to follow him on all forms of social media. Look at that. You can walk away with something like that, or you can walk away with an 11x17 print of Darth Vader, even though Charlie probably doesn't even know who Darth Vader is. But that's okay. That's okay. So we have prints from your favorite fandoms. This is just a small example of what we have available to you. We could be sending it right to your home, but you got to tell your friends about us and help us reach 1,000 subscribers. That's how we're going to do it. So help us out. Also, Movie University watch-alongs are going to be returning on November the 12th, 14th, and 16th with the Three Musketeers, Quantum of Solace, and Mrs. Doubtfire turns the big 3-0. I know, Charlie, we're getting too young for this business. I got to tell you, it's happening too much, too often. I can't stress this enough. But join us for all those wonderful things and shows and projects. We've got so many wonderful things coming your way very soon. So once again, like, comment, share, subscribe, ring that bell to be notified when our new videos go up or they go live. And remember, life is better when reading. Take a look.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics. Author Cindy Kep is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Kep at CKOEPP.com today.
Good morning! Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.